Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, Attention Coach Jeff Copper, and I'm here with ADD Crusher Alan Brown. Alan, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me here.
Alan, we've interviewed Alan on Attention Talk Radio, and he's storied. He's a legend. He's Mr. Detention because I'm Mr. Attention, and sometime I have to give Mr. Intention on. But anyway, Alan Brown had. You were quite the character for a period of time, and weren't diagnosed with ADHD till later in life. And can you just tell us a little bit about your background and what the show's about today is the aha moment where you kind of change things. So pre-diagnosis and kind of pre-getting your act together. Can you explain to everybody a little bit of your background?
I'll tell you what. It's just very, very close to home. The huge potential problem that is undiagnosed adult ADHD. In fact, I'm giving a TED Talk in San Diego next month on the 85% who are undiagnosed adults that, for instance, 45% of the prison population is undiagnosed ADHD, up to 70% of alcoholics. You know all these stats, but it's scary stuff. So what were my teens and 20s like?
Yes.
I was this close from jail. This close from...
Okay, so when you say this close from jail, what is like... I mean, they're chasing down the street with guns, or...
Well, it is, first of all, it's alcohol abuse.
Okay.
Second, it is stupid, crazy behavior. Third, it is crime. I was engaged in some crime. I was a drug dealer.
Okay.
I was buying large amounts of drugs in Harlem in the height of the crack epidemic. And a couple of my friends were doing something similar, and they got caught. I didn't get caught. So I came within an inch on more than one occasion of really having a completely different life than the one I do now with our nice suits on. This was not the uniform back in the day.
No, it was not. No, it was not. So I'm hearing that you had some substance abuse issues, run-ins with the law possibly, and got in close because your friends were there. Plus there was a adrenaline junkie side to you, if I'm not mistaken. You had, as a matter of fact, rent-a-car companies hate you, I imagine.
Yes, they do. I just got a letter from one the other day. It's a woman in Philadelphia. I did something in Philadelphia. But anyway, I do feed my adrenaline addiction in a little bit more of a healthy way. I race motorcycles. I was actually just doing that last weekend. So it's a healthier way. No drinking and driving when you're on the racetrack.
But that's today. Before you had flipped a car in the Jersey Turnpike a couple times?
Yeah. And, bottom line, I hit bottom with the drugs, with the behaviors, etc., and I kind of turned myself over to self-help groups and was able to finish college and get a job in advertising. But
so I'm going to cut you off there because I want to just kind of fast forward today. You are ADD Crusher. You've put together a program that you're promoting, but also you're an advertising executive. You've been very successful, and you're splitting time between the two. And wearing a very nice suit here, I might add.
Thank you.
So that we talked about the before, and now we're at the after. Oh, and recently married.
Yep.
So got a lot of things going for you. And what I want to ask here, the focus of this program is for our viewers out there is, what was the aha? How did that kind of come about? Because, I mean, there's a lot of people who are sitting there probably identifying with this a little bit, but somehow something clicked for you and it turned. Can you just talk about that experience?
I was struggling in the advertising business, working as hard as I possibly could, twice as hard as my peers, and not getting anywhere. I'm sitting in a cafe in the East Village of New York, and the back page of the Village Voice has a little ad for a support group for ADHD. I had already been told about 3 years before by my doctor that ADHD was a myth. Don't worry about it, Alan. You might think you have ADD. Just do more crossword puzzles. Well, I went to the support group. It's the Manhattan Adult ADD Support Group, and they're still going. I love these people. And I went into this one meeting, and the speech happened to be one, the talk happened to be one about doctors who get it and doctors who don't. And the light bulb went off, and I said, man, and by then I had a new doctor to whom I went. And I asked her, do you believe or do you not believe? And she said, and this is 15 years ago. She said, do I believe? My son is a classic case. Let's send you through a battery of tests. Let's make sure it's not something else. Diagnosis, more light bulbs go off. And then, of course, ADD Crusher happens because that all flows out of wow.
So what I'm interested in, and this might be difficult, is that you're sitting there, life is on the skids, but you see this ad. What compelled you? I mean, you could have done things before that, but what was it about that enabled you to say, I'm going to go to this?
Well, I think it was a really frustrating point where I just couldn't understand why it was that as hard as I worked, and I worked long hours, I worked every Saturday for about 7 years, every Saturday. Why couldn't, and I know I'm no dummy, I just couldn't break out. And then when I saw that thing, and I remembered that 3 or 4 years prior, a doctor had told me ADHD is BS, I said, that's got to be it. This has got to be it.
So I think what I'm hearing you saying is deep down, your self-esteem was a wreck, but there was something inside that was telling you that you weren't a wreck.
Yeah.
And you saw this, and you said you were looking like this. This has to explain it. This is if this could be the difference between what I feel and what is, and that compelled you to go.
You just characterized it perfectly.
And what this is very difficult, I guess, to kind of explain. But my intuition is there's so many that I've coached that they're just bright people. They know that they're bright, but they just haven't executed. And to be on rock bottom and say, wait a second, this is not making any sense to me. I'm not that dumb. I shouldn't be here. There's got to be a reason for it. To me, is what I'm hearing is like, hey, I'm looking. This could be the reason, which is enough to kind of get going. And I'm assuming, I'm inferring that once you went, you found a little bit of a tribe. And you start to identify, and then slowly am I putting words in your mouth?
No, well, you know what? Right up until a certain point, because once I was diagnosed, I ran out and grabbed all the books I could so I could learn strategies. And of course, I'm a horrible reader, so I couldn't really pull the info. That's what really started the idea of ADD Crusher. I wanted to find a way where I could get strategies delivered to me in a fun, visual way and not have to read them. So,
but this is interesting because I'm having a little bit of aha because I didn't really think about this, but the epicenter of this is the disconnect in your mind with here's who I know that I'm better than this, but this is where I am. And one day you look and say, if this is the explanation, the relief to say, hey, no, I am, and get myself out. This is kind of a weird moment for me because it's mechanical, but literally, when it all boils down to that is you know that you were capable of more, but you weren't seeing it, and that was the, hey, this is the ticket.
That was the hey, and it was a moment of potential relief because you knew at least you could see the path. The real relief came when I started to learn strategies and teach myself strategies for how to be a better performer at work and in my personal life. And that's where the real relief
and I think that in my experience coaching people, there's this huge euphoria of when they get the diagnosis that, oh, that explains it. But then they kind of go back to it for a period of time. Okay, great, I've got, what do I do?
But the
second piece of it is some of the things that ADD Crusher doing in the coaching side is, okay, let's talk about what you do, how you get past procrastination. So with that, Alan, I appreciate you coming on the show. Everybody, if you want to learn more about Alan, the best place to go is addcrusher.com.
addcrusher.com.
It's addcrusher.com. And I have to think about that because I can't spell. So
I know, you're terrible. That was pretty good.
Well, I know. Awesome. So anyway, thank you very much for coming on the show, all right?
Thanks for having me. God bless.